Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a really fascinating set of sources lined up today.
Definitely. We're talking personal letters, news clippings, eyewitness accounts, even some overheard whispers.
Exactly. Things that hint at, well, some very strange goings-on. Our goal is to piece together what happened from this collection of material someone flagged for us.
And it starts dark, doesn't it, with the Riddle House?
It does. A murder there. And the sources, well, they point pretty quickly to the gardener, Frank Bryce.
Yeah, Frank Bryce, war veteran, stiff leg, didn't like crowds apparently.
Yeah.
The local chatter, picked up at the pub, the hanged man.
Reliable as ever.
Seems like they arrested him pretty fast, though reading between the lines, people were shocked. Frank, couldn't be him, that sort of thing.
But it gets weirder. Much weirder. There's this overheard conversation inside the Riddle House.
Involving someone called Your Lordship.
Mm.
Very deferential tone used there.
And Wormtail, we know that name. Plus another voice described as just cold.
Chillingly cold, yeah. And they're talking about a plot.
A plot they might carry out without Harry Potter. Now that changes everything, doesn't it?
Completely. And Wormtail sounds almost desperate, suggesting they use another wizard to speed things up.
While the cold voice is more calculated. Thinking about doing it without Potter, why without him? That's the immediate question.
It really jumps out. Suggests Harry's presence, or maybe his absence, is key to whatever they're planning.
And speaking of Harry, this seems to be affecting him directly. His scar.
Ah, yes. The letters mention it hurting again, like it did with, well, Voldemort encounters in the past.
A bad sign. And Hermione, bless her, she immediately hits the books.
Common magical ailments and afflictions. Ever the pragmatist.
But Harry's skeptical, and you can see why, can't you? Surviving that curse. He's not exactly a textbook case.
Not even close. And the contrast is almost funny in a dark way. He's meant to be on this strict diet at the Dursleys.
Right, poor kid starving.
But he's actually swimming in treats. Sugar-free stuff from Hermione, Hagrid's rock cakes, ouch.
Don't forget Mrs. Weasley's pies and fruitcake, and birthday cakes plural.
It's madness. Which, speaking of madness, leads us to the Weasleys arriving.
Oh yes, in the flying Ford Anglia. Crashing into the Dursleys' very ordered, very miserable life.
Pure chaos. Dudley's tongue. The Dursleys' panic. A flying china figure. It's the perfect clash of worlds.
And it introduces the whole Weasley dynamic so well. You've got Fred and George.
Already working on their joke shop ideas. Weasley's Wizard Wheezes.
Much to Mrs. Weasley's frustration. She wants them focused on exams, of course.
Totally relatable. Then you've got Percy, all serious about his ministry job.
And really quite concerned about Bertha Jorkins vanishing in Albania.
Yeah, even Mr. Weasley seems genuinely worried about her being gone so long. Unlike Ludo Bagman, who seems to just brush it off.
That's an interesting contrast right there. Bagman's attitude.
Very much so. Anyway, off they go to the Quidditch World Cup. And poor Mr. Weasley trying to handle muggle money with Mr. Roberts.
Always a bit tricky for him, isn't it?
But the campsite itself sounds incredible, a real global gathering.
The sources mention African wizards roasting something over purple fire.
And American witches from the Salem Witches Institute. It gives you a sense of this huge, vibrant, magical world coming together.
And bang in the middle of it all, Ludo Bagman turns up again.
Head of magical games and sports. Very flamboyant robes, apparently.
And already making bets with Fred and George. Ireland to win, but Crumb gets the snitch.
Seems a bit reckless, maybe. Jovial, certainly. But then you compare him to Barty Crouch.
Head of International Magical Cooperation. Very different vibe. Serious. Stiff.
Almost severe. Especially when Bagman's talking about announcing, well, something planned for Hogwarts. Crouch is very buttoned up about it.
The tension between them is noticeable in the accounts. Different styles completely.
Definitely. Bagman's almost casual, Crouch is all procedure. I suspect that difference will matter later.
And the stadium itself sounds immense. The excitement must have been incredible.
Electric, I'd imagine. Thousands of fans from everywhere.
And tucked away, almost a side note, we meet Winky.
Barty Crouch's house elf, saving him a seat in the top box. Seems minor, but...
But maybe not. It lodges in your mind. Then the match.
What a game. The Irish chasers were apparently amazing.
Crumb's seeking skills too, even though Bulgaria lost.
Right. And that controversial foul, Dimitrov on Moran, got everyone worked up.
And you can't forget the leprechauns and the vila.
Oh, that gesture, and the vila turning into those bird-like creatures. Memorable, let's say.
So Ireland wins, Crumb catches the snitch anyway. Mixed feelings all round, I suppose.
A perfect example of Quidditch's slightly odd rules. But that celebration doesn't last long.
No, because suddenly, The dark mark appears over the campsite,
Chilling. Utter chaos breaks out immediately, people running, screaming.
and the ministry officials arrive, including Mr. Crouch, who seems frantic.
Almost hysterical, the sources say. And who do they immediately blame?
Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Convenient, perhaps.
Very. But then they find Winky, Crouch's elf, with Harry's wand.
And she's terrified, denying everything. Mr. Weasley makes a good point, too.
How could a house elf cast that spell? It's powerful dark magic. Doesn't quite add up.
Plus, there are conflicting reports from the ministry about injuries. Just adds to the confusion and suspicion.
It's a real turning point. Fear, confusion, something's badly wrong, and the ministry's reaction feels rushed. Maybe covering something up.
Or just incompetent. And guess who jumps right on that story?
Rita Skeeter. Naturally.
Her Daily Prophet article sounds brutal. Ministry blunders, lax security, Bertha Jorkins' disappearance.
And she takes a swipe at Mr. Weasley, doesn't she? For trying to calm things down. You can almost hear her quick quotes quill scratching away.
Mr. Weasley's worried about her digging, and he's also critical of Bagman not taking Bertha's disappearance seriously enough.
Skeeter definitely pours fuel on the fire, makes everyone more anxious,
Oh, yeah.
and the ministry look worse.
Inside the Weasley house, you see the different views, too. Percy defending Crouch,
Of course he does, Mr. Ministry.
while Hermione is furious about how Crouch treated Winky, firing her like that.
Sets up that conflict within the family, doesn't it? Loyalty to authority versus, well, basic decency.
And then that urgent message comes through the fireplace. Amos Diggory's head.
Talking about Bertha Jorkins again, clearly her disappearance is becoming a much bigger deal. It feels like a key thread.
So, back to Hogwarts. The train journey sounds tense. Ron's annoyed about being kept in the dark.
Understandable. And Malfoy's being his usual charming self, taunting Ron about his robes.
Some things never change. Then they arrive at Hogwarts in a huge storm. Peeves causing trouble as usual.
A bit of gothic drama to start the year.
And the Sorting Hat song is interesting this year.
Yeah, focuses on the founders working together to create the hat. Unity. Maybe a pointed message.
Could be, given what's coming.
Yeah.
Because Dumbledore makes the big announcement.
The Triwizard Tournament is back. Huge news.
But with an age restriction. 17 and older only.
Cue the outrage from Fred and George. You can just picture it. Their dreams of glory gone.
Then the other schools arrive. Beauxbatons.
Very elegant entrance with a carriage. And Madame Maxime.
And Durmstrang arriving by ship. Very dramatic. With Headmaster Karkaroff.
And their star pupil, Victor Crumb.
Who causes quite a stir, apparently.
Yeah.
Instant celebrity at Hogwarts.
Definitely raises the stakes. At the welcoming feast, Crouch and Bagman are introduced as officials.
And we see Karkaroff again, practically fawning over Crumb.
But really sharp at another Durmstrang student. Shows his priorities, maybe. Likes the fame Crumb brings.
Seems likely. Then everyone's rushing to put their names in the Goblet of Fire. Angelina Johnson, Cedric Diggory. The excitement is huge.
The chance for eternal glory, right. Everyone wants in.
Then comes the selection night. The tension. You could cut it with a knife, I bet.
The Goblet chooses Fleur Delacour for Beauxbatons.
Victor Crumb for Durmstrang.
And Cedric Diggory for Hogwarts. All seems fairly predictable.
Until, boom, a fourth name comes out.
Harry Potter.
Shock. Disbelief. Chaos in the Great Hall.
Dumbledore questions Harry immediately. Did you put your name in?
And Harry's adamant. Okay, he's underage.
The headmasters are baffled. Moody suggests a powerful confundus charm.
To trick the Goblet. And maybe entering Harry under a fourth, non-existent school to bypass the age line.
It points towards manipulation, deliberate, sinister.
And poor Ron. His first reaction is disbelief, but then jealousy.
Yeah, the rumors start flying. Prize money, no exams. Hits Ron hard. Puts a massive strain on their friendship right away.
The whole school starts looking at Harry sideways. Especially the Hufflepuffs, supporting Cedric. Ron stays angry.
Isolates Harry even more, and the tension boils over, doesn't it, with Malfoy.
Leads to that duel in herbology. And Hermione gets caught in the crossfire with that awful teeth-growing jinx.
Just a mess. Everything's heightened. Even Colin Creevey snapping photos feels more intense.
Then the wand-weighing ceremony. With Ollivander.
And that reminder, the connection between Harry's wand and Voldemort's Priori Incantatem, always lurking there.
Sirius Black writes, deeply worried. He suspects someone's trying to get Harry into the tournament to harm him.
His warning to be careful adds real weight. This isn't an accident, it's a plot.
Harry's obviously anxious about the first task. He meets Hermione secretly in Hogsmeade, under the invisibility cloak.
To avoid Ron's anger and all the staring, it's tough for him.
Then Hagrid acts all mysterious. Leads Harry out at night,
near the Beauxbatons carriage. And Harry sees them.
Dragons. 4 of them.
Mhm.
Including a Hungarian horntail. The first task.
Terrifying reality check. You see the keepers, the spells needed to control them. Charlie Weasley's even there. It's serious danger.
So Harry hits the library, naturally, with Hermione's help, trying to find anything about dragons.
While dealing with a grumpy Crumb and his fan club hanging around. More pressure.
He's getting desperate. Then Cedric gives him a clue. A surprising bit of sportsmanship.
Tells him the task involves dragons, basically. Points him in the right direction.
Moody gives him advice, too, in his usual weird way. Talks about traditional cheating.
Implying the other schools will help their champions. Urges Harry to use his strengths.
Hermione encourages him. They practice the summoning charm. Accio Firebolt.
A potential lifeline. The day of the task arrives. The tension is immense.
We see the champions perform. Cedric uses transfiguration. Quite clever.
Fleur tries a charm, gets burned. Crumb uses a conjunctivitis curse on his dragon. Bold.
And Harry. He summons his Firebolt. Flies around the horntail to get the golden egg. Amazing stuff.
Bagman's commentary is apparently over the top. The judges give their scores. Harry does well.
Afterwards, there's that weird incident with the Weasleys, canary creams. Typical Fred and George.
Bit of chaos to lighten the mood, but then Hermione's acting a bit distant.
Yeah, Ron notices her in the library.
Yeah.
With Crumb. Seems like something's developing there.
Which brings us to SPEW Hermione's House Elf Rights campaign.
Oh, yes. Society for the Promotion of Elfish Welfare. She's very passionate.
Though Harry and Ron aren't exactly enthusiastic supporters, are they? Typical teenagers.
The McGonagall announces the Yule Ball, a tradition, and the champions have to have partners.
Cue mass panic among the students trying to get dates.
Harry gets asked by loads of people. Even a forceful 5th year. It's awkward.
Ron's getting increasingly desperate, and then he finds out Neville asked Hermione.
And she turned Neville down. Because she already has a date. Ron can't believe it.
The teenage drama is intense. Meanwhile, Dobby gives Harry socks. A sweet moment.
So the Yule Ball happens. Hogwarts is decorated. Though Fleur isn't impressed.
No, she's quite critical. The Durmstrang lot arrive by ship again. Grand entrances seem to be their thing.
Harry goes with Parvati. Reluctantly. Ron is just fuming because Hermione looks amazing.
And she's with Victor Crumb.
Leads to that awful fight. Ron accuses her of fraternizing with the enemy.
So unfair, just pure jealousy on his part.
Elsewhere, Hagrid and Madame Maxime seem to be getting close. Ron overhears them.
And finds out Hagrid's half giant, which explains a lot, but Ron's reaction is, well, shocked.
Hermione is understandably cold towards Ron after his outburst, and Cedric gives Harry another clue.
About the egg. Taken to the prefect's bathroom. Password. Pine Fresh. Cryptic.
Things get stranger. Hagrid disappears after a Rita Skeeter article.
And they have Professor Grubbly Plank teaching care of magical creatures instead, with unicorns.
Parvati says some nasty things about Hagrid, but Hermione defends him fiercely.
Later, Harry and Ron overhear Hagrid admitting his mother was a giantess. It explains his secrecy.
Meanwhile, Bagman's acting shifty again.
Yeah.
Meeting goblins in the Three Broomsticks.
And keeps offering to help Harry with the egg. Very insistent. And asking about Mr. Crouch, who's supposedly ill.
It all feels off. Harry actually confronts Rita Skeeter about her Hagrid article. Good for him.
Dumbledore goes to comfort Hagrid, tells him about his own brother Aberforth facing public shame, encourages Hagrid to come back.
A really touching moment of support. Harry finally tries the bathroom clue.
Submerges the egg, and hears the Merpeople song, the clue for the second task.
But then Moody shows up, very interested in the Marauders map Harry has.
And the map shows Barty Crouch, inside Snape's office. What?
Moody's instantly suspicious of Crouch, mentions Death Eaters who walked free, fueled by Skeeter's gossip.
It deepens the mystery around Crouch immensely. Hagrid gives Harry some encouragement before the second task.
But Harry's still struggling to figure out how to survive underwater for an hour. The song is clear, the method isn't.
Hermione's frustrated with the books. Fred and George suggest transfiguring himself, which Harry dismisses.
Then, last-minute rescue. Dobby gives him gillyweed.
Allows him to breathe underwater. Dobby comes through again.
So Harry enters the lake, grows gills, webbing. It's quite the transformation.
Down in the depths, he sees the Merpeople, avoids grindy lows, and finds the hostages.
Ron, Hermione, Cho Chang, and Fleur's little sister, Gabrielle Delacour, tied up.
He's only meant to rescue Ron. But Harry, well, he tries to save them all.
Classic Harry. Can't leave anyone behind, even though the Merpeople seem quite menacing about it.
Dumbledore's waiting at the surface, speaking Mermish. The judges deliberate.
Fleur got attacked by Grindylows, couldn't finish. Cedric got Cho easily. Crumb transfigured into a half-shark.
And Harry was last back because he tried to save everyone. He gets points for moral fiber, but not full marks for time.
Ron tells everyone he was fighting off mer people bravely.
While Hermione's annoyed, she was the thing Crumb would miss most. But she admits he asked her to visit him over the summer, blushing included.
So that relationship is definitely real. Then Snape grills Harry about being out of bed the night his office was burgled. Suspicious as ever.
Harry talks to Sirius again, through the fire. They discuss Crouch sacking Winky, the Dark Mark.
And Sirius is very suspicious of both Crouch and Bagman. Hermione suggests Bagman conjured the mark, not Winky.
Sirius explains Crouch Sr.'s history, ruthless ambition, the awful relationship with his son.
And why are Moody and Crouch so interested in Snape's office? It's all very tangled.
Sirius warns Harry again, be careful. Transforms into Snuffles briefly before disappearing.
The trio visit the kitchens. See Dobby happy, see Winky
Yeah.
deeply depressed, unemployed. It's sad.
Leads to another argument about Hermione wanting to free Winky. Complex issue.
Then Hermione gets that nasty package.
Yeah.
Boobotuber pus. Almost certainly Skeeter's revenge.
Horrible. Bagman shows Harry and Cedric the maze for the third task. The cup's in the center.
Looks daunting. But then Harry runs into Barty Crouch in the forest.
And Crouch is completely out of it, talking nonsense about escaping, warning Dumbledore about Voldemort, mentioning Bertha, his son.
He seems utterly broken mentally. Harry tries to get Dumbledore, but Crouch collapses or disappears. It's frantic.
Sirius writes again, urging caution, practice spells. He admits he can't help much with the Crouch situation from afar.
Harry ends up in Dumbledore's office and sees the pensive.
And accidentally falls in, viewing Dumbledore's memories.
Huge revelations here. Karkaroff's trial naming names to save himself. Moody mentioning Rogier took a piece of him. Shows the cost of that war.
Ludo Bagman's trial, too. Claimed ignorance about Death Eater Gold. Got off.
And the most harrowing? Barty Crouch Jr.'s trial. With the Lestranges who attacked the Longbottoms.
Crouch Sr. sentencing his own son to Azkaban. The son pleading, the mother's grief. It's brutal.
Dumbledore explains the Longbottoms' fate, permanent insanity from the Cruciatus Curse, and Neville visits them. Heartbreaking.
Dumbledore talks openly with Harry now about Voldemort's possible return, the disappearances, Jorkins, Crouch Sr., Frank Bryce. He's connecting the dots, reading Muggle news even.
Hermione clicks about Rita Skeeter. She must have reported Bagman's trial years ago. That's how she knew things. Clever.
Bill and Mrs. Weasley visit, bringing some comfort. Mrs. Weasley is much warmer to Hermione now. Nice to see.
Then, the third task. The maze. Harry goes in. It's full of obstacles, fog, weird creatures.
Blast-ended Scroots. He finds Fleur, taken out by one.
Then finds Crumb attacking Cedric. Crumb's under the Imperious Curse.
Harry stuns Crumb to save Cedric. They help each other.
They reach the Triwizard Cup together. Dead heat.
And they decide quite nobly to take it together. Share the victory.
They touch the cup, and it's a portkey.
Transports them straight to a graveyard. Instantly feels wrong.
Harry's scar explodes with pain. Wormtail appears, carrying something small, weak, wrapped in robes.
Oh, this is it. The ritual. Wormtail cuts off his own hand.
Takes bone dust from a grave. Voldemort's father's grave.
And forces blood from Harry into the cauldron.
And Voldemort rises, reborn, fully formed, terrifying.
He summons his Death Eaters using the dark mark on Wormtail's arm. They apparate in, masked and fearful.
Voldemort taunts them, punishes some for their absence or perceived disloyalty. He's utterly ruthless.
He explains the protection Harry's mother gave him, why he couldn't touch Harry before. It was the sacrifice.
Then he uses the Cruciatus Curse on Harry. Cure agony. Forces him to duel.
Wands connect. And that strange effect happens again. Priori incantatem.
Echoes. Shadows of Voldemort's recent victims emerge from his wand. Cedric, the old man Frank Bryce.
They shield Harry for a moment, tell him to take Cedric's body back, give him a chance.
Harry grabs Cedric, summons the Porky Cup, and escapes. Just barely.
He lands back at Hogwarts, chaos, screaming. Dumbledore rushes over, Fudge arrives.
Harry tries to explain. Voldemort's back, Cedric's dead. Then Moody drags Harry away.
But Dumbledore, Snape, McGonagall follow. They realize Moody isn't Moody.
It's Barty Crouch Jr. He's been using Polyjuice Potion all year. The real Moody is trapped.
They use Veritaserum. Crouch Jr. confesses everything. His escape, Voldemort's plan, putting Harry's name in, manipulating the tournament.
Helping Harry just enough to get him to the cup. He even admits killing his own father when he escaped.
It's horrifying. The whole year, orchestrated.
But fudge. He refuses to believe it. Blames Sirius, blames Dumbledore. Anything but accept Voldemort is back.
Complete denial. Dangerous denial. Dumbledore insists it's true. Snape shows his dark mark, proving it. McGonagall backs him.
Hagrid says he knew Voldemort wasn't gone for good. He's ready to fight alongside Dumbledore.
The leaving feast is incredibly somber. Black drapes for Cedric. A terrible end to the year.
The real Moody is back at the table, looking battered. Karkaroff has fled, understandably terrified of Voldemort's return.
Hermione reveals her secret weapon against Skeeter. She figured out Rita's an unregistered animagus. A beetle.
That's how she got all those scoops. By eavesdropping as an insect, Hermione's trapped her in a jar.
Brilliant. On the train home, Malfoy and his cronies try to attack Harry, Ron, and Hermione.
Probably trying to stop Harry telling people Voldemort's back. But Fred and George intervene.
And they reveal Bagman paid off their World Cup bet with Leprechaun gold. It vanished. Confirms he's unreliable, likely in debt. Dodgy indeed.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, it's a grim picture. Voldemort is back, thanks to Barty Crouch Jr.'s elaborate plot.
Cedric Diggory tragically murdered. Rita Skeeter's methods exposed. And the Ministry actively denying the truth.
Harry survived, he's the witness, but the official channels are shutting him down. Only Dumbledore and his allies believe him.
It marks a huge shift. The fear is back. The wizarding world is entering a much darker, more uncertain time.
And so many questions linger. What about the Death Eaters who didn't show up? What's their game? What will the Ministry do next?
How does Harry even begin to cope with what he saw, what he knows?
It really makes you think, doesn't it? About truth, belief, and denial. How easily people or institutions can refuse to see what's right in front of them, especially when the truth is terrifying. What happens when that denial meets a rising darkness? Something to ponder. Until next time.